You're a teenager with no house, no crew, and no plan. The place you grew up in burned to the ground last week. Everything you owned, gone. So you did the only logical thing left to do, you stole a ship. Not your proudest moment. But while you're standing on that stolen deck trying to figure out what comes next, a stranger walks aboard. He's loud. He's got a grin wide enough to split the horizon in half. He smells like salt water and bad decisions. And he looks at you, really looks at you, and says something that'll echo inside Rayleigh's chest for the next 40 years. I've been looking for a ship like this. Mind if I borrow it? You say yes, of course you say yes. You don't know why. You don't know who this man is yet. His name is Gol D. Roger, and agreeing to that question is the single moment that breaks history in two. The world before and everything after. Here's what nobody tells you about what it actually costs to stand at the right hand of a legend. Rayleigh is 17 years old the first time Gol D. Roger laughs. It's not a polite laugh. It's not a refined laugh. It's the kind of laugh that makes every seagull within 100 yards take flight in panic. Roger throws his head back on the stolen deck, slaps his knee, and laughs like the world was built specifically to entertain him. Rayleigh has just told Roger that the ship doesn't actually belong to him. Roger laughs harder. This is, Rayleigh will later realize, a very accurate preview of the next 20-something years. Roger doesn't explain where he wants to go. He doesn't present a map or a mission statement. He just points toward the open water, toward the Grand Line, toward the part of the ocean that every sensible sailor treats as a death sentence, and says with complete, unshakable certainty, "That's where the real stuff is." Rayleigh looks out at the horizon. He looks back at Roger. He has no house. He has no family. He has nowhere else to be. "Fine," Rayleigh says. And that's how the Roger pirates begin, not with a manifesto, not with a grand ceremony, with a burned-down house, a stolen ship, and a teenager who had nothing left to lose. The early years are chaos dressed up as adventure. The crew's small at first, a collection of wanderers, outcasts, and people who looked at the word impossible and treated it as a suggestion. Rayleigh learns quickly that sailing with Roger means accepting that the plan will always change. The odds will always be worse than expected, and somehow, the outcome will always be better than it should be. Roger fights like he breathes, effortlessly, instinctively, as if battle's simply another form of conversation. Rayleigh watches him carefully. Rayleigh studies the way Roger moves, the way Roger reads a room before a single sword is drawn. And slowly Rayleigh begins to understand something important. Strength isn't just power, it's presence. The ability to walk into any situation and make every soul in the room feel that the outcome has already been decided. Rayleigh starts building that for himself. Not by copying Roger, that'd be pointless, like trying to forge a second sun, but by finding his own version of it, quieter, steadier, the kind of strength that doesn't announce itself until the exact moment it needs to. They call him the right hand of the Pirate King. But Rayleigh knows what that really means. It means Roger gets to be the storm. Rayleigh gets to be the thing that holds the ship together inside it. Here's something they never carve into statues or write into history books. The Grand Line tries to kill you. Constantly, creatively, enthusiastically. Rayleigh loses count of the number of times the sea itself seems to take the whole situation personally. Storms that appear from clear skies. Islands that don't appear on any chart because no one who reached them made it back to draw one. Sea kings the size of small mountains. Creatures so enormous that the Roger Pirates ship looks like a splinter floating next to a cathedral. Every island is a test. Every rival crew is a question the sea asks about whether the Roger Pirates deserve to keep going. The answer, every single time, is Rayleigh stepping forward. Not because Rayleigh's the strongest, but because Rayleigh's the steadiest. Roger once tells Rayleigh, late at night on the deck with no land visible in any direction, that what Rayleigh is to him isn't a weapon. It's a compass. "I can find the destination," Roger says, pouring 2 cups of sake and sliding one across the railing. "But you're the one who finds me when I've gone too far off course." Rayleigh drinks the sake and says nothing. Because what do you say to that? The crew grows. Scupper Gaben joins, and suddenly Rayleigh has a partner in the business of keeping things from catching fire unnecessarily, which, with Roger aboard, is a full-time occupation. Young cabin boys named Shanks and Buggy scramble around the deck, getting underfoot, bickering constantly over things that don't matter. Rayleigh watches them with something that isn't quite affection and isn't quite exasperation. It's somewhere in the middle, the way you look at something that's going to mean something to you later, even though you don't know it yet. The fights along the way are legendary. Rayleigh battles marine admirals, rival warlords, enemies whose names will be whispered in fear for generations. But Rayleigh doesn't fight for glory. Rayleigh fights because Roger's dream requires it. Because the things worth reaching always have something terrible standing in front of them. And slowly, Rayleigh stops feeling like a teenager who lost a house and stole a ship. Rayleigh starts feeling like something else entirely. The Dark King. Not a title Rayleigh chose. A title the world assigned, because when you stand in the shadow of the Pirate King long enough, the shadow itself becomes something worth fearing. The moment the Roger pirates set foot on Laugh-Tale, everything changes. Rayleigh stands on that final island, the island that exists at the end of the world, the island no crew before them ever reached, and the first thing Rayleigh feels is not triumph. It's something stranger, heavier. The treasure is real. The Void Century is real. The truth that the world government has spent centuries burying in silence and violence. It's all real, and now Rayleigh knows it. Every member of the Roger Pirates knows it. And Roger, standing at the center of Laugh-Tale, laughs again. That enormous, unself-conscious laugh that rattled seagulls when Rayleigh was 17. But this time, the laugh has something underneath it. Roger tells the crew the truth shortly after. He's sick, has been sick for years quietly, carrying it the way he carries everything, like it belongs to him and no one else needs to worry about it. The disease is one no doctor can cure. The clock is running. Roger has already decided what comes next. Rayleigh doesn't argue, because Rayleigh understands. Roger isn't surrendering. Roger's making a move, the largest, most audacious move of a life that was built entirely out of audacious moves. Roger will turn himself in. Roger will stand on a scaffold in front of the entire world. And Roger will use his final breath, not to plead, not to rage, but to ignite something. Roger will begin an era. The disbandment is quiet. No ceremony. No long goodbyes. The Roger pirates scatter, each of them carrying the weight of what they learned at Laugh-Tale, each of them choosing what to do with it alone. Rayleigh watches the ship sail away for the last time and stands at the dock until it disappears completely into the horizon. Then Rayleigh walks into Sabaody Archipelago and becomes a coating mechanic. If you find that funny, Rayleigh would probably agree with you. The right hand of the Pirate King, patching ships with resin at a workshop on a mid-tier island. Rayleigh takes on gambling debts that make the Okia ledgers look modest. Rayleigh drinks. Rayleigh sells himself at an auction once. Not out of desperation, Rayleigh will insist, but out of sheer reckless boredom, which is perhaps worse. The world moves on. The great pirate era that Roger ignited burns across the oceans. New legends rise. New crews chase the dream Roger made possible. And Rayleigh watches it all from Sabaody, hands covered in resin, apparently content to be nobody. Apparently. Then Monkey D. Luffy arrives, Rayleigh's gambling naturally, when the chaos starts. A celestial dragon has been shot. The Straw Hat Pirates are about to learn exactly how fast a situation can become catastrophic. And in the middle of all of it, Rayleigh senses something. Conqueror's Haki, the rare, involuntary overflow of willpower that belongs only to people who were built to lead. The kind that doesn't ask permission. The kind that simply is. Rayleigh felt it once before, on a stolen ship from a 17-year-old with a laugh too big for any room. Rayleigh finds Luffy in the chaos and looks at this rubbery, ridiculous, utterly fearless kid. This boy wearing a straw hat who fights like nothing in the world could ever actually stop him. And Rayleigh recognizes something. Not Roger. Don't misread this. Luffy's not Roger. Rayleigh's very clear about that. But the quality, the unshakable certainty, the way Luffy makes every person around him feel like the outcome has already been decided. Rayleigh has met this before. Rayleigh knows exactly what it grows into. When Luffy's crew is scattered at Marineford, when the war ends and Luffy is broken and alone and has lost the person he went there to save, Rayleigh goes to him, not to console, not to lecture, to offer something specific. 2 years, 1 island, and everything Rayleigh knows. Rusukaina Island is not gentle. The wildlife alone could destroy most marine admirals. But Rayleigh's not running a school. Rayleigh's running a forge. Rayleigh teaches Luffy Haki, the 3 types, the foundation, the philosophy underneath them all. Rayleigh explains what Haki actually is, willpower made visible, the capacity of a person's spirit to impose itself on reality. Rayleigh watches Luffy train until the island shakes. Watches Luffy fail and get up. Fail and get up. Fail and get up. Rayleigh has seen this before too. After about 18 months, Rayleigh steps back. The basics are set. What comes next, Luffy has to find alone, the same way Roger had to find it alone, the same way Rayleigh had to find the quiet, steady version of himself in Roger's shadow. You can teach someone how to hold a blade. You can't teach someone what they're willing to cut for. The day Luffy leaves Rusakaina, Rayleigh stands at the dock again. Different dock, different generation, same feeling. The horizon is a very long way away, and the person sailing toward it doesn't look back. Rayleigh smiles, that unreadable, unhurried smile of someone who's been to the end of the world and understood finally that the end of the world isn't a destination. It's a door. At some point in the story, a young marine or a curious journalist or a wide-eyed pirate apprentice asks Rayleigh if he regrets it. All of it. The years, the danger, watching Roger die, standing at Sabaody in resin-stained hands while history happened everywhere else. Rayleigh doesn't answer immediately. Rayleigh pours sake, the way only someone who's poured 10,000 cups of sake can pour it, without looking, without spilling a drop, and sets one across the table. Then Rayleigh says, "I stood at the right hand of the man who found the end of the world. I trained the boy who might change it. What exactly am I supposed to regret?" There's a version of Rayleigh's life that looks like loss from the outside. The crew dissolved, the captain gone, the legend buried, the Dark King reduced to a workshop and a gambling tab. But that version misses the point entirely. Rayleigh's not a relic. Rayleigh's a link. The living, breathing thread connecting the age that was to the age that's coming. Every time Luffy's haki roars across a battlefield. Every time Shanks smiles that knowing smile. Every time some new, impossible crew sails toward the Grand Line because Roger made them believe it was worth trying. Rayleigh's in all of it. Quietly, without a title, without a bounty poster to show for it. The right hand of the Pirate King, it turns out, was never really about Roger. It was always about what Rayleigh chose to do with everything Roger left behind. A stolen ship, a burning house, a laugh too big for any room. "We did all right," Rayleigh would say to that 17-year-old standing on the stolen deck. "We did more than all right. If there are stories like this one still waiting, and there are in every corner of this world, subscribe, because we're just getting started."